Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we are bringing something a little bit different than what you're used to from Bad Medicine. In just a little bit, I am going to be going wheels up in the most iconic fighter plane ever built, the P-51 Mustang. It is the week of the biggest aviation event in the world, EAA AirVenture Oshkosh, and it is just 20 miles south of where we live in Appleton. For those of you who follow along on the channel, again, you know that we're primarily doing TV and movie reactions. We've been talking for a minute about branching out, doing experience videos, challenge videos, and things like that. And I could not be more excited. For those of you who have seen some of our World War II content, you know I've spoken about my grandfather's time in the war. And he was an airplane mechanic and may have very well likely worked on planes just like this P-51 behind me. If you found this video because you're an enthusiast of World War II history, a fan of the P-51 Mustang, or just are passionate about EAA AirVenture, welcome to the channel. Again, normally we do TV and movie reactions, but we're doing something a little different, and this is a bucket list thing for me, so I am very excited. Once again, we're gonna be going wheels up in just a little bit, and we are taking you guys along for the ride. All right, and at this time, I am going to welcome Audie Holland here from the Commemorative Air Force. He's gonna join us here on camera, and we're gonna talk a little bit about the P-51 Mustang. Audie, first off, thank you very much for having us here. We are super excited to be here at EAA. It doesn't get much more iconic than the P-51 Mustang.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about the Commemorative Air Force, how they came to own Gunfighter, and a little bit of the history of the plane.
Well, it was originally the Confederate Air Force, and it was formed in the Rio Grande Valley back in the early 50s by a bunch of crop dusters. It was kind of a joke. They purchased a Mustang, and which the CAF still has. It's called Red Nose. They decided that, realized that nobody was saving any of the examples of the World War II airplanes, so they took it on themselves to start collecting each of the fighters. And once they got them, then they started in with the bombers, and then it just went from there. And then the name was changed to Commemorative Air Force, and I couldn't tell you what year, but it's been commemorative. It was Confederate Air Force when we joined in 1990, and since then it's been changed to Commemorative Air Force. And at one time we were ranked as the 7th largest Air Force in the world.
In the world.
I don't know if that's still the case or not, but that's that. My wife and I joined because of this airplane. That's the reason why we're in the Commemorative Air Force. We saw this airplane, and we're from Missouri, and there was a gathering of CAF planes, and one of them was this airplane. I'd never even seen a Mustang before. And when he came across the field, we were standing right next to a local TV station's crew, and they went by, and the sound made a wow as it went by like that. And the CAF guy was next to me. He says that we call that music. And I was hooked at that point, and we started following the plane around and finally joined in 1990. We've been with the plane ever since.
Now, I understand there was just shy of 15,000 of these built during the World War II era.
I don't know the exact number, no.
Do we know how many are still in existence
today? There's just a little over 100 that are still in existence.
So out of the, I know it's more than 10,000. Out of the 10,000 P-51 Mustangs built, less than 200.
Yeah, less than 200.
Oh, wow. Mm-hmm. So it's very special again. Mm-hmm. Now, the P-51 Mustang that we're looking at behind us, this is the P-51 D. So when we talk about the history of World War II, we know that there was earlier variations of the Mustang. Tell us a little bit about what made the P-51 Mustang D so special and the advantages that it gave the U.S. and Allied forces in World War II.
We'll start off with the A model, which is an Allison engine. They had an Allison engine, which was a good performing engine below 15,000 feet, but above that they got very anemic. And then they went to the B and the C model, which is kind of a Razorback, and they had the Merlin engine in it, and they were pretty good performers. And they had the 2-stage supercharger, like this one here has. And then the D was the one that was most produced, and it's visible by the fact that it has this bubble canopy. There was also a K model, but they were more. There wasn't as many of them, and they have a distinct look. This one has that iconic Mustang look with the bubble canopy, but it's that engine and the laminar flow wing that makes it so special.
Now the bubble canopy, again, you talked about that. That's kind of the signature when you look at the profile of the P-51 Mustang. You talked a little bit about the Allison engine. We know when they switched to the Packard-built Rolls-Royce Merlin supercharged V12, That made all the difference in this plane's capability. Tell us a little bit about that Merlin V12 from Rolls-Royce and what that enabled the Mustang D to do.
Well, it made him able to perform an extraordinary level at above 30,000 feet because of the two-stage supercharger. And up until the Allison didn't have that. And they were a good performer, like I said, below 15,000. But it was that two-stage supercharger, and it's putting out 1,490 horsepower.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of horsepower, and it's got its signature sound. There's nothing that sounds like a Merlin engine. Yeah. It's the sweetest sound that there is.
And I think that's one of the things that really hooks people when they first see a P-51 fly, or even just the engine start up, is that V12 has a distinct sound. There's nothing on earth like it. And you said earlier it's music, and that truly is the case. Now, for the gearheads out there, it's, I believe, 27 liters, 1,649 cubic inches. So for those of you trying to get a better idea of how big this engine is, 1,649 cubic inches. You said it was putting out an incredible amount of horsepower. What was the top speed on a plane like this?
It would go in excess of 500 miles an hour. They'll go faster to dive because they're so slick. But 505 is the red line on it.
Okay, so
we don't go that fast in this one.
Gonna break 500. Yeah, and everything that I've seen online, they talk about the pilots try not to push it much higher than that 425, 430. But interviews with some of the pilots did say no, it was definitely capable of going a little bit faster.
Well, during your ride today, you'll probably be under 250 miles an hour.
All right. Well, we'll see if
which is still plenty fast.
Which is still plenty fast for me. Like I said, guys, I'm very much looking forward to this ride. A little nervous, if I'm being honest, but again, very excited. So if we have some extra time, we'd love to do a little walk around of the plane, show us a little bit more, so our audience and everybody out there can learn a little bit more about this.
Whatever you want to do.
Right up in front, the power plant.
That's right.
The supercharged Rolls-Royce Merlin V12 engine. Tell us a little bit about this and four prop that we have on this
four-blade prop.
Four-blade prop.
It's fully adjustable, so that you can use it for cruise or for climbing or whatever. So we talked about the engine already. The stacks come out. You have a stack comes out for each of the cylinders. So there's 6 on this side, 6 on the other side. These are a little bit larger than your traditional D stacks. These are H stacks, which means that they're a little bigger. So it has a little throatier sound. It gives it a little bit better performance. This underneath here, this is the carburetor scoop.
Okay.
So it goes right in on the carburetor. Then it, like you said, it's a V12 engine. It has the capability of holding 12 gallons of oil. We usually run about 10, because if you get much more than that, it's just spilling it over. Then it's glycol. We have the radiator scoop underneath. It has both the oil cooler, and that's also the radiator that cools the glycol, so they can maintain. And it's fully adjustable, or it could be automatic. Are you familiar with the Venturi effect?
I am. So that was one of the things, of course, I knew a handful about the P-51 Mustang. Getting ready for this video, I learned quite a bit more, but it actually kind of worked as a little bit of a jet propeller.
That's right. It creates thrust.
Creates thrust. So the hot air comes in through the radiator.
Well, the cool air goes in there,
and
then it's heated by the radiator and the oil cooler, and then the smaller opening, it actually creates thrust.
So gave it a little bit of extra. Gave it a little bit of extra oomph.
That's right.
All right, now it's very very clear. We have our guns here in the wings. Now the earlier P-51s, if I'm correct, only had 4 guns total. 2 in each wing. For the P-51 Mustang D, they upgraded that to 6. Tell us a little bit about the firepower that this plane had on
50 caliber, and you've heard of the term the whole 9 yards.
Whole 9 yards.
That's the total. That was the total capacity, the length of the belts that went into the 6 guns. How much did you guys game the whole 9 yards? That's where that comes from. About 1,000 rounds total. If you just pull the trigger down and melt the barrels, and that's a good way to make your crew chief mad.
Oh, so
it was just blip, blip, that sort of thing like that. But you had the barrels here, and the guns would be back in here, and there's a tray there that's visible, and then you also had where they would have laid the belts out. But we just have the barrels.
You just have the barrels. So these don't have no 50 caliber guns in these particular
it's to save weight, because this plane is working for a living.
Now, one of the things that we don't see on this particular plane that was incredibly important with the P-51s in World War II that made them as effective as they were the drop tanks under the wing. Now, anybody who knows their World War II history, their P-51 history knows that when they were doing escort runs prior to the drop tanks, they would be escorting those B-17 bombers, and they had to turn around and come back home.
That's right.
And oftentimes, the German Luftwaffe is sitting there waiting.
That's right.
They knew the precise moment when the escorts had to turn around and go back home. They added drop tanks, again, not something that we see on this particular plane. I believe there is a few 51s at EAA that still have drop tanks.
Those are show planes.
The show planes. But those drop tanks that they added, which gave these P-51s the extra range, that really made a gigantic difference in World War II in the bombing
They were
runs.
able to fly 6 and 8 hours, so they could go clear to Berlin and back with the drop tanks. And we obviously don't have those. Again, it's a working airplane, so the hard points have been eliminated. This one has never had the hard points on it since we've been with the crew, so it just never has. We don't even have the fuselage tank anymore, which was something that was a...
Yeah, now you mentioned the fuselage tank. So the P-51 gas tanks in each wing, and originally behind where the pilot sits. Of course, this plane has been retrofitted with a back seat to be able to offer the flight experiences. The P-51s originally, did any of them have back seats as trainers, or was
They
that
were
something?
TF-51s that have 2 full sets of controls, and you can tell them by the elongated canopy.
Okay.
This is a D model. It's a single seat fighter, but prior to us joining, the fuel tank and the radio equipment that was on top of it behind the pilot, the armor plating was all removed. So again, save weight, but also allowed us to put a jump seat in so that we could share that experience of flying the Mustang.
All right, which I'm going to be in that jump seat. It's going to be a little bit of a snug fit, but we're super excited
Actually,
about
you'll fit just fine.
Oh, there we go. Even better. All right, now we talked a little bit about the canopy on the P-51 Mustang D. Very distinctive look from the earlier A, B, and C models. We talked a little bit about the radiator. This side profile of this plane is just is one of a kind, distinguishes this plane. But let's talk about the canopy, because it really improved visibility for these fighter pilots.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, it really did. It gave them full visibility, whereas the Razorbacks had some blind spots.
Now this canopy, I know some things that we're going to talk about during our safety briefing, but I'm guessing it was just a hand crank.
It just rolls shut.
So in a bad situation where a pilot had to bail from their plane, they would have had to crank that canopy.
Actually not. There was an emergency release.
There was an emergency release.
That jettisons the canopy.
Okay.
It's just held on by some pins, and then there's a lever in there. You pull that lever, it releases those pins, and it's gone.
Right off. Wow, that makes it a lot easier than having to hand crank a canopy.
We hope we don't
situation.
have to ever use it in real life.
Yeah, keep our fingers crossed. Keep our fingers crossed for today. Now, every bit of the P-51 was engineered very specifically to make this the absolute best performing plane it could be. We talked about the engine, the prop, the radiator, but the wings themselves, a new design for the P-51D as well that enabled it to do things that previous versions had. Can you talk to us a little bit about the wing design on these?
Well, it has a laminar flow wing, which allowed the air to be more efficient flowing over it. And it's just the way it's curved on both the top and the bottom, and it gradually reduces as it goes out to the tip. And it just makes it very high performance. You have the flaps here that are hydraulically operated, just like the landing gear. And when they start the engine up, the flaps come up, and they have they can select how much degrees of the flaps they want to come down. And obviously, right now, due to the weight of the flaps, it's fully deflected. But this helps to slow the descent rate and for landing. And the pilots were known in World War II to actually deploy flaps during a dogfight so they could turn tighter. So it made a better performance. You have the ailerons out here, which actually help with the wings. And that's controlled by the stick in there.
Okay.
And then, of course, you've got the rudders, which we'll talk about a little bit. But it also has the trim. This is a trim tab here. This plane is very trim sensitive. Anytime there's a throttle change, they have to change the trim on it, and the trim is all right here. They're on the set of wheels, and that's just part of what they learned to do, and it's very trim sensitive.
All right, and here we are at the tail of the plane. Audie's going to tell us a little bit about the back end of this P-51 Mustang and what this did for the plane's capabilities.
Yeah, again, okay, so we have, helps with what steer the plane up or down, this part, again, controlled by the stick. You'll have another trim tab here, like we talked about, it's very trim sensitive. And then we also have the rudder, which is controlled by the foot pedals. What do you notice about this here is that this yellow part is fabric.
I was gonna say, it looks like
it's fabric. Yeah.
It looks like, yeah, like you can see, like
it's non-strategic materials what they use. Although this is metal, this part is fabric. And again, we have another trim tab here. This emblem here would have been part of the 55th Fighter Group. That's what that
55th Fighter Group. Okay.
That's where this comes in. Each of the squadrons had a different color, and the 343rd was yellow, as well as the CY that you see up there on the side indicated the 343rd. The U would have been that individual ship. They would have gone A through Z.
Now the paint scheme that we see on this and the Gunfighter, is this a replica of one that flew in World War II? Or
actually, this is the colors that was on this airplane. This plane was built in 1945, March of 1945, in Inglewood, California, and was then shipped to England, where it served with the 343rd Fighter Squadron, 55th Fighter Group of the 8th Air Force, and it was based at Warminford, England. And that's the colors it's in.
So this is
these colors are accurate to this airplane.
Okay.
When it did not get into hostilities because of the lateness of the war.
The lateness of the war.
So
sure.
it was sent back and it spent its military operational career in guard units. And when it was dropped in the inventory, a man by the name of Brigadier General Regis Ursula, who was the commander of the 55th at Offutt Air Force Base, so the Strategic Air Command, he purchased the airplane and donated it to what was then called the Confederate Air Force, now Commemorative Air Force.
Commemorative Air Force.
At the time, it had a cloud, kind of a quasi-normal cloud camouflage scheme on it with the name Gunfighter.
Okay.
But he restored it to the colors that you see here.
Absolutely beautiful.
And the U obviously for Ursula, but those colors, that's actually, the CY goes with the 343rd, the U is the letter of this individual ship. And but he left the name Gunfighter, which has no historical significance.
Okay.
So we leave it as such, as a memorial to those airmen who didn't return.
Okay, well, that's a fantastic bit of history and a very good way to honor them. I'm just, again, guys, you know, anybody who follows the channel knows that I'm very rarely at a loss for words, good, bad, or otherwise. But just being here with this piece of history again, I've seen this plane pretty much every year at EAA,
Yes.
again, for the last, you know, better part of 2 decades, and being able to see it up close at EAA, and now knowing that I'm going to be able to go out for a flight in this, it's a pretty special moment for me. We're very, very excited, and I know we have a safety briefing that we have to go through in a little bit. We'll bring you guys along for all that as well. So what I'm being told as far as my flight experiences and everything that goes along with that, you guys will be able to experience that as well.
So there's a step there, handhold here. You know, you got to stay on that rough because that wing is very slick.
Okay.
Otherwise, you could take a nasty fall.
Oh man, we don't want to. My boots are a little tall, but
there you go. Just make sure you stay on the rough part. Okay, I'll meet you on the other side.
all right. So here we are up by the cockpit of the plane. What a cool experience! You can tell us a little bit about what we're looking at in here.
Well, I can point out a few things to you here. It's we have this is what rolls the canopy open and shut right here. And we talked about the emergency release. It's right here. And they just pull that out, and that actually releases the pins that are located in the canopy, and then it's easily removed. We have over here, we have the throttle. So it would advance, that would be just to go faster, pull back for less. And it's got the different, you can control the pitch of the prop and the other things. All the control, the trim control is right here, and easy access for the pilot. I was saying that, talking about that it's a trim sensitive airplane, and they're all right there. So that makes that nice control stick. This is not the original part up here, but it's pretty much, here's the hydraulic dump. When you release that, when you pull that, the flaps and the gear doors come down after they're all down the ground. They will put that back in, so when they start the engine, then the hydraulics will bring the flaps and the gear doors up. We have modern avionics here. The original package would have been back here. It has the different selections for the different tanks, and it even allows for the drop tanks, which you see here and here.
Wow, this is incredible. So here, cockpit lights, the full.
At one time we had the gun sight up here. It was a K-14 gun sight. It was an early computerized gun sight and made them deadly accurate. But that's been removed, and of course they have modern avionics now.
All right, and this is the back seat. This is
That's
where...
right. This seat actually rotates forward like this.
Okay.
And this will be your office back here, what we call your office. And it's very comfortable. You'll have the parachute on, and then you'll be strapped in with the military style hitch. There is no air conditioning aboard this plane. So, but at one time this was a fuel tank right here, and then above that was the radio equipment, and then on the back of the seat here was armor plating, and that was to protect the pilot in the case of being attacked from the rear. But we don't need that stuff now, so that's all been removed.
You know, it's interesting. It's not, when you look at the plane and its profile and you look at it from the back, it looks, with the way the bubble canopy is, it looks super, super narrow. And, you know, we had kind of joked a little bit about me fitting back there. But when you're here looking inside of it, it actually is, it looks bigger than you would guess from the outside.
It's quite comfortable. It's very roomy. If you're very short in stature, it's a little hard to see over the edges because your head's going to be about, you know, at that area.
Not a lot of headroom between the top of the head and the canopy, but
yeah, especially when it's closed. So,
all right, safety briefing time. Let's get to it. Audie, what do I have to know about?
Well, you need to know how to get out of this airplane, the emergency procedures of this airplane, in the event that there is an emergency. If there's an emergency on takeoff, the pilot is going to retract the gear and do what's called a belly landing, which is the most efficient way to bring a high performance airplane like this down. It's going to be very noisy, and when all the noise comes to stop, he's going to help you get out of the airplane. But if in the event that he's incapacitated some way, which isn't going to happen because he's wearing a helmet. But if it was to happen, you need to know how to get out of the airplane because you're inside of a closed bubble here. If you look back here on the back right there, see that red handle down that says emergency?
Emergency pull, yes, sir.
It's right here.
Yep, I
right
see
there.
it.
After you're going to take your seat belts loose, take the headset off,
yes, sir.
And you can take the parachute off if you want. And I'll show you how to do that when it comes time. But you're sitting still on the ground. As you're standing up, you're just going to stand up in the seat, grab that handle and pull that, and in the same time using your back, and you'll just lift this canopy off and just dump it off to the side. Shouldn't be a problem for you. yeah. And then by then there's going to be emergency personnel on hand, you know. So,
I mean, how would somebody go about? I mean, which side of the plane, hypothetically speaking, if I had to bail out, do you do?
Well, we'll show you. I'll tell you that here in a short one.
All right. We're not planning
if there's
on any of this,
if there's an emergency in the air, you're at altitude, the pilot's going to bring you back. The only thing would keep him from doing that, he's going to make a landing. But the only thing that's going to keep him from doing that, something catastrophic happens to the airplane. For instance, an engine fire, the loss of a control surface, something that's going to make the plane uncontrollable. At that time, he's going to say, bail out, bail out, bail out. He's going to say it 3 times. When he starts saying that, you want to get your head forward and cover it to protect it. You can't lean very far forward because you've got shoulder straps on. But as far forward and cover your head, and because he's going to jettison the canopy. He's going to pull this handle here, and that canopy is going to be gone in the slipstream. Now it's going to get really noisy. There's a lot of wind. We don't know what the airplane is going to be doing. We brief for a plane that's going like this, but the plane could be going like this, you know. We don't know. So you have, that moment, you have to stop and slow down and think so you save your life. You're going to look up, after you've done this, you look up, you're going to see the pilot's gone. And so he has to get out of the airplane before you. He's not abandoning you. He has to get out of the airplane before you do. And at that point, the plane's going to be moving around. So what you do is you take the seatbelt loose, which I'll show you here after a while. But he'll take the seatbelt loose, take the headset loose, and then you're going to shimmy forward, scoot forward, like I'm going to use this railing here, like I'm in the back seat. I'm back here. That's where I'm at. Can you visualize that? Okay. You're going to shimmy forward, keep your feet wide because you don't know what the plane's doing. Staying low because if you get above the slipstream, they could jerk you into that tail and that might ruin your day. You're going to dive just as hard as you can at that wingtip. Just as hard as you can. You're going to dive, and you'll be able to do it because of the adrenaline. That's going to take you under the tail. You're going to be hooked up via a lanyard to the seat back there, and it'll automatically deploy the chute.
Okay.
Okay. If for some reason that was to fail, there's a D-ring here, and you pull the D-ring straight out like that.
Okay.
You keep it as a souvenir, throw it away, it's up to you. It's going to be a big round chute. It's not a square chute like the Army Golden Knights use. It's a round chute designed to get you on the ground, okay? And you have some control of it, and there's enough wind you're going to drift. When you start getting closer to the ground, try to avoid like power lines and trees and things like that, you know, if at all possible. But the idea is to get you on the ground. So as you're getting closer to the ground, you know, like the 101st Airborne, how they get their knees together and they come down and they allow their legs to be shock absorbers. And you just come on down. Don't try to land on your feet like a Golden Knight, but you want to come on down, allow that to be shock absorbers. And whichever way the parachute wind pulls you, just roll that shoulder so you don't hurt a shoulder. It could be this way. And once you get down, then you'll pull the tabs on the parachute, and then you walk away from it.
Okay.
That's it in theory.
All in theory. In theory.
Well, we bring back most of our passengers,
Oh,
so
that's good to hear.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
So, do you have any questions on that?
No, not really.
It sounds really bad.
I got to prepare for everything, right?
That's right.
Yes,
But I've been with the plane for 35 years, and we've never had any incidences. So,
well, let's hope it doesn't start. Hope it doesn't start today.
no, I don't think it will. These seat belts, we use a military style hitch, and this is signified by this here. It's actually a 5-point. We have the two shoulder straps. They're just exactly alike in the front and the back. We have the one that comes between the legs, and when you hook it all together, it's very secure. It's very secure. It's not going to go anywhere. But if you need to get loose real quick, you just pull that, and everything comes loose right now.
Okay.
It's a military hitch, is what it is.
And all this made in 1945.
Yes.
80-year-old airplane. This is so wild.
Mm-hmm. They were never designed to last this long.
No, and that's another thing that for as much fun as we're having here today, you bring up an interesting point. These planes weren't meant to last 80 years, but it's because of people like yourself and the Commemorative Air Force and all the aviation enthusiasts that we still have these pieces of history. And it's an interesting thing that should be noted about the P-51 Mustang. Yes, it's a marvel of engineering. Yes, it's a super cool plane. But this particular plane here quite literally helped change the course of world history. And I think that's one thing that always needs to be remembered. It's not just a fighter plane. The capabilities that this plane offered the Allied forces in the bombing runs as escort planes for the B-17 and other bombers as fighter planes, taking out infrastructure from the German armies, factories, railroads, everything. Again, this plane right here and the brave pilots that flew them helped change the course of history. So we can't thank you enough for everything that you guys do to preserve these pieces of history, again, because it's so much more than an airplane. And for anybody that's been down to EAA, it's we encourage everybody to go. I know we're very spoiled living just 20 miles from Oshkosh, Wisconsin, where it takes place. But when you walk down to EAA, there's so much to see. But when you go into Warbird Alley and you see all these old fighter planes parked next to each other, you're literally taking a walk back through history and seeing so many important pieces of why we have the freedoms that we have today. And so this is just a really special experience that, again, we're very thankful for and very thankful to the Commemorative Air Force. Maybe it'd be good to have something in your stomach.
Okay. They were concerned about your size, but I think there we go. That's not too uncomfortable, is it?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. Headset.
All right.
I'm excited for you.
I am as excited as I've ever been for anything. So.
What we're going to plan on doing is we'll probably just go out, take off, and we'll turn out to the west and kind of head that direction. Just do a little weather check real quick, and then we'll probably just loop back around.
Okay.
And come back up to the north. So we'll kind of drive around for about 5-8 minutes, something like that, and then we will plan on doing a little bit of maneuvering. So we're going to go up to about 3 to 4, maybe 5,000 feet, depending on where the clouds are above the ground. And we'll do just a little bit of maneuvering. So what we do, just call it some lazy A's. So climbing, descending 180-degree turns.
Okay.
Nothing's going to be a secret. I'll tell you what we're going to do before.
Yeah, I was just saying to your wife, as long as I have an idea, I'm somebody who's done 180 on a motorcycle, 170 in a car, and dumb I shouldn't have done. But when I'm driving, it's a significant different experience. But as long as I know which way we're going, I think I should be fine.
So then we're going to do a climbing, descending 180-degree turn. Make sure that's all good. What we'll do after that is we'll plan on doing maybe a little more rapid roll in, pull some G's.
Okay.
I'm going to show you a little bit about how that works. We'll kind of talk about how that kind of that works with everybody. Or after that, what we'll plan on doing is kind of combining the two, doing a little more G, and we'll do kind of like a reminiscent of what they would have done for like a ground attack. Sort of.
All right.
So that'll be kind of involve kind of rolling in. We'll do a little bit of a dive towards the ground, and then we'll do a climbing, and then kind of a little bit of roll, not a roll off the top, but just kind of a bank.
Okay.
Pull down off the top. Like I said, none of this is going to be a secret. If you're liking it, let me know. If you're not liking it, let me know. So there's things we can do.
Okay. Perfect.
So if you see us 1,000 feet above the runway and you're wondering what we're doing, that's what we're doing.
That's it. All right, pilot is making his way into the plane.
Somebody get a Nick.
Okay. You good? Guys, have fun.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
This bar right here behind your seat, not your mount, but this bar, can I put my hand on that? Or all right.
If you want a handle, that's where you want to be.
Okay, perfect. Subconsciously, that'll make me feel a little bit better when we're doing crazy I feel like I'm holding on to something. Yes, sir, loud and clear. Just doing some audio check. for sure, but I've just never like had that feeling before, like the Jeep, I don't know what the they're at, but it's a weird feeling, man. That was 14? 14! 14! Alright, sounds good. Oh, yeah! Woo! Woo! Holy sh**. Oh, wow, that was wild.
He's going 20 miles per hour on the highway. I do. Hope you had as much fun as I did.
Oh man, that was excuse my language. I swear too much as it is. That was incredible, dude. Thank you so much. didn't need the stick bag, so that was good. Man, you know, we went up. It's smooth. It's a really smooth plane. Like when you take off, smoother than a commercial plane. He was doing a little of this, and that was okay. And he's like, now we're gonna do some stuff. We're gonna pull some G's, and it's a really weird feeling, that extra weight on your body. I was like, oh, you'll see it. It was nuts. You can't prepare for it, man. It was so wild, so crazy. All right, so we just finished up our flight experience. Earlier on, you guys saw before the flight, we had Audie from the Commemorative Air Force take us through the safety precautions, give us a walk around of the plane, help us learn about the P-51. But I am here with the pilot, Pete, Dr. Scholl.
Yep.
Well, first and foremost, thank you so much for that experience. It was absolutely incredible. Tell us a little bit about how you got into aviation, and how does one get into flying the P-51 Mustang?
So I just had an interest from early on. I was encouraged by my parents. So started volunteering at an air museum when I was in high school, and then just kind of worked up getting my private license. And then I went into the military and started flying in the military, and did 20 years flying for the military.
20 years flying
Yep.
for the military. And what sort of military planes have you all flown?
I flew the F-16. So that was about it. But it was great. Wonderful career.
The Oak got to Oak. Sorry, we all have our nicknames on the channel. That's one of them that I go by. But Oak got to go up with an F-16 pilot. That was pretty incredible. So a few questions about the flight speed-wise. What did we get up to about?
We got up to about 250 knots, which is about 280 miles an hour.
280 miles an hour. And then, of course, like most aviation fans, we love the movie Top Gun, right?
Yeah.
You hear the negative 4G inverted dive.
None of that today.
Of course, no inverted, but we did pull about 4Gs, you were saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
4Gs. Now, explain to us a little bit what that means, for the people who aren't familiar with, aviation.
So when you roll up, to turn the airplane, you're going to roll the airplane with the stick and then kind of set the wings, and then you're going to pull straight back on the stick, and that puts radial G on the airplane. And so it just kind of presses you down in your seat. That's the force you feel when you're on a roller coaster or something like that. When you're going up, on a roller coaster, it kind of pushes you straight down. But that's what you get when you're pulling G's to do a tighter turn. And for a fighter aircraft like this, you're going to pull a lot of G's to pull as tight a turn as you can for advantages in a dogfight.
And what is the Mustang? You said that's capable of pulling like 8 G's, is that
When
correct?
it came out of the factory, yeah, it was an 8G airplane, actually maybe a little more. But she's old, so we don't quite pull 8 anymore. We'll get up to about 4.
All right. Now, again, we thank you so much for your time. We know you have another flight coming up, so we wanted to keep this post-flight interview a little bit quicker than everything we did before the flight. But again, on behalf of myself, all the guys here from Bad Medicine, we just wanted to say thank you so much for this experience. As a grandson of a World War II veteran who worked on planes, I put this on, before we went up, I put on my grandpa's, sorry. I put on grandpa's World War II honorary service pin. This was given to veterans after the war was over to wear on their civilian clothes. Of course, I have my grandfather's medals and everything in a shadow box with his uniform, but I decided to wear this today so Grandpa could go up with me in the airplane. But this is, again, a very special experience. Sorry, man, I didn't mean to get like this on
That's
you.
why we do this. And you coming out and flying with us today, David, makes all this happen. So thank you for
All
coming
right,
out
well,
and flying.
again, thank you very much, guys. I don't know how we're going to top this one at Bad Medicine. We're going to be bringing you more from EAA AirVenture 2025. That was the experience of a lifetime, guys, truly. So thank you once again.
Thank you.
Mr. Scholl, the Commemorative Air Force, everybody from EAA for organizing this event and just allowing aviation enthusiasts and people to come together for this passion. And this was such a wonderful experience. Catch you guys on the next one. I don't know what that's going to look like. Probably not like a P-51, but we'll see. Thanks, guys.